What is the difference between IPv4 and IPv6 addresses? Hello and welcome back to my channel Computer and Internet Do's and Don'ts. Today I want to discuss the difference between IPv4 and IPv6 web addresses. First, what are IPv4 and IPv6 web addresses? The address through which any computer communicates with our computer is simply called an Internet Protocol address or IP address. For example, if we want to load a web page or we want to download something, we require the address for delivery of that particular file or web page. That address is called an IP address. Simply put, IPv4 and IPv6 are addresses for computers and websites, similar to the addresses of homes. For example, your computer has its own unique IP address. The difference between IPv4 and IPv6 addresses is in how they are formatted. IPv4 address consists of two things that are the network address and the host address. It stands for Internet Protocol version 4. It was introduced in 1981 by DARPA and was the first deployed version in 1982 for production on SATNet and on the ARPANET in January 1983. IPv4 addresses are 32-bit integers that have to be expressed in decimal notation. It is represented by four numbers separated by dots in the range of 0 to 255, which have to be converted to 0 and 1 to be understood by computers. For example, an IPv4 address can be written as 189.123.123.90. IPv4 address format is a 32-bit address that comprises binary digits separated by a dot. IPv6 is based on IPv4 and stands for Internet Protocol version 6. It was first introduced in December 1995 by Internet Engineering Task Force. IP version 6 is the new version of Internet Protocol, which is way better than IP version 4 in terms of complexity and efficiency. IPv6 is written as a group of 8 hexadecimal numbers separated by colon, smiley face. It can be written as 128 bits of zeros and ones. IPv6 address format is a 128-bit IP address, which is written in a group of 8 hexadecimal numbers separated by colon, smiley face. An example of an IPv6 address is 2001 DB8:1:2:020C 29FF phase 0C 47D5. The recent version of IPv6 has a greater advantage over IPv4. Here are some of the mentioned benefits. Larger address space. IPv6 has a greater address space than IPv4, which is required for expanding the IP-connected devices. IPv6 has 128-bit IP address rather than IPv4 has a 32-bit address. Improved security. IPv6 has some improved security which is built in with it. IPv6 offers security like data authentication, data encryption, etc. Here, an internet connection is more secure. Simplified header format. As compared to IPv4, IPv6 has a simpler and more effective header structure, which is more cost-effective and also increases the speed of internet connection. Larger address space. IPv6 has a greater address space than IPv4, which is required for expanding the IP-connected devices. IPv6 has 128-bit IP address rather than IPv4 has a 32-bit address. Improved security. IPv6 has some improved security which is built in with it. IPv6 offers security like data authentication, data encryption, etc. Here, an internet connection is more secure. Simplified header format. As compared to IPv4, IPv6 has a simpler and more effective header structure, which is more cost-effective and also increases the speed of internet connection. IPv6 is better than IPv4 as IPv6 is more advanced and has more features than IPv4. We can use both IPv4 and IPv6 in a single machine. There are devices that support dual addressing. When two devices communicate, they agree on which IP version to use. Generally, IPv6 is faster than IPv4. However, when we go to a larger packet size, IPv6 can be slow in some cases. So to summarize, IPv4 and IPv6 are formats for IP addresses for computers. IPv6 is the newer standard with more security built in. There are devices that support both protocols, although only one can be used at a time. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next video.